Well, success. What a pain in the ass this spider was. This is the Pteranodactylus marinus. I'm absolutely exhausted chasing this thing around. Not outside of the enclosure, of course, but I rehoused it out of the deli cup. Well, not that deli cup, but deli cup. And what I generally do is, let me pan back out here, is I put the enclosure that they're in this box, and see all the holes I have in it, and then I use these to kind of manipulate the spider where I want it to go. Now bear with me a second, I'm going to plug the microphone in, so you're probably going to hear some static. Okay, so I originally thought, well, you know, it's not that big, so I'll put it in this. Well, when I had this inside here, so look, this is what we do. We take this cover off, put this in here, like so, okay? Try to do it in a corner, and then I'll take the enclosure, well, just use this deli cup with the elbow in it, take the lid off, then I'll put this back on, and then I'll use the stick, you know, to maneuver the spider where I want to. Generally I try to get them into this vial, cover it, and then take the vial and then put the vial into the enclosure that the spider's going into, take the lid off, put the lid on, and generally that's how, then it'll come out, the spider will come out on its own, or I'll poke it out depending on what type of spider it is. So this one goes a little different. Now, hold on one second. Okay, so what this one did for me was just lapse. Okay, so imagine this container sitting in here like so. Okay, now if we pan down or look inside, there's not a ton of room for, you know, you to work, and I always leave the vial in, because if the spider goes into the vial, then I will just hurry up to cover the vial, then put the vial into this, close this, wait till the spider comes out, and then open it up, get the vial out. OBTs are a little bit harder because of their unwillingness to stay still. And this one, again, I don't want to say that this was a difficult rehousing, because I pretty much resigned myself that it could take a while in these containers because of how I'm doing it. You know, I could do it in the bathroom, but I don't want to chase a spider around in my bathroom either. And with, you know, my bad knees and my back, my reflexes and speed isn't great. So I don't want to do it there. What we'll do in the summertime, or, you know, big rehousings, is I'll set the tent up outside, and then I will take the spiders, the containers out there, and do the rehousings in there. And if the spider gets out, it's just going to crawl around the tent, and it'll be easy for me to get it. And I don't have to worry about being too quick, you know, because it's not going to get out, it's not going to go anywhere, the tent's all enclosed, there's no holes in it. But so what, you know, if I can do it in this container, I do. Now, how I'm going to do her, I'm not quite sure yet, because she's coming out of there and going into the bigger system, into actually this one here, okay, which is, you know, as long as this, so it's 1.5 times the size of this that she's already in, and just a little bit wider, just a little bit deeper, not much deeper, but deep enough for her, until I can free room. And when I do, then she'll go into actually this bigger container where she has more room to dig. Now, I'm not, you know, I'd like to set her up semi-arboreal and see how she does, but I just don't know. But anyway, back to this pain in the rear. I generally like to feed as quickly after a rehouse as possible. I'm not saying that that's right. I'm not saying that, you know, giving them time to settle isn't right either. This is just the way that I do it, and I have my reasons, and whether my reasons are valid or not, they're valid for me. And again, my reasoning is that if they have been comfortable in a home, now this spider has been in that 16-ounce deli cup for almost a year, if not longer. So it's comfortable in there. It knows the ins and outs. It made itself its little tunnel. It made itself its little burrow, and that's where it's lived. So when food comes, it knows right away. You know, whether I don't believe that they associate, you know, the moving of the lid or removing of the lid and food every time that you remove a lid. I don't think that they have that capacity. But of course, once you throw something in there, they know that there's food in there. Now here, you could see, this is probably where I'll find this spider tomorrow morning still, until it gets comfortable. Now I will not, I may try and pop this lid over here on the side and try to get something in there. I would have to throw it in there with tongs so that this little one doesn't decide to come all the way around and come out. And maybe if it sees, you know, something in there that it can eat, it'll get down, it'll eat, it'll find some place to go, and it'll be more comfortable. Is it possible feeding them too quickly after a rehouse could cause them to be stressed? I suppose it could. You know, I don't know how we can measure that a spider is actually exhibiting symptoms of stress. Maybe it's scared, you know, and it's uncomfortable, and we use the term stress to, I don't know. Again, I don't know how we have decided that an insect can feel stress. It's hard for me to fathom. I mean, we use the term, I use the term, so it's, I don't know how to put it, you know. I mean, I think that reptiles can be stressed, because I think that you could see mannerisms and you know, differences in their normal behavior when you add a stressor. Okay, whether it's taking, like the geckos. Okay, when the geckos, right now there's no light on, and you see Saul is out. He loves it when there's no light on. He's a climber. He likes to climb, and he's moved that thing, the little cave there, away from the wall so he can get behind it. Why he goes back there, I don't know. I don't know if he's chasing crickets, but what I've done since I've had them, and it's because of what I was told to do, you know, from the people that we got the original one, Luna, from, was to get a box of crickets and stick it in there. And there are times when you don't see her or him, and you put the box of crickets in there, and then they crawl out, and you can see they're in shed. And when they're getting ready to shed, they're just not as comfortable, let's put it that way. So those things probably do stress them out, the crickets. So I generally, when I do see that, try to pull the box back out and then close the box back up, a little latch, and then stick it into a container like this until, you know, she molts, or not molts, but sheds. I have never seen him shed. I've never seen him. It's hard to tell because he's a blizzard, so his, you know, he's got grayish skin to begin with. But I think that reptiles and amphibians can probably feel some kind of stress. I don't know that insects have that capacity. I guess it's possible, but without having, you know, the brain and the functions of the brain that can, you know, remind it of things that, you know, caused it pain or caused it whatever. You know, like a dog. A dog learns quickly that, you know, you put a shock collar on it with an underground fence, that it gets near it and it gets that zap. It doesn't go near it. It learns pretty quickly that it associates those spots with pain. So that's a stressor. you know, that, so, you know, how, I don't know. I'm rambling on about stress and spiders, but anyway, I just wanted to give you guys an update that we did get the OBT rehoused, and it's a beauty. I'm not sure what sex it is. We'll have to wait for it to molt. It doesn't look like it could use a meal again. Nothing big, but you know, a nice sized cricket or a medium sized roach. We'll see what happens. If I decide I want to try and feed it, I'll try and at least videotape the probably fumbled attempt at doing it. The molts from the other day, the LP, Lasiodora paribana, and the Brachypelma albopilosum were both showed signs of female. I didn't get them under a huge magnifying. I didn't put my macro on the camera. I was pretty confident in what I saw with my, you know, I have this. This is like a magnifying light, this thing here. So I kind of just use that to kind of give me an idea. And then once I get the molt opened up, I'll take a LED flashlight, shine it up underneath it. That's kind of, there's a nice little shot through the vent hole. That kind of gives me, you know, that's kind of where I saw what I thought was the beginning of spermathecae for the elbow, and it was almost, I want to say 99% with the LP. The other two, the Brachypelma emilia and the Ephabelpis marinus, both were unsexable due to the tear right at the book lungs, where you need to tell whether they're a boy or a girl. So the wolf spider babies are going back home tomorrow. I'm going to do that actually once I get home from work. We're going to run down there and do that. I'm going to try and feed the male Chromatopelma. You know, let me bring the light with me, the GBB. Denver, I'm going to try and give him a meal, and the Grammostola pulchra that molted a week and a half ago. I want to get those two fed. I did feed the male Balfouri, a little cricket, and he took it right away. And I'm finding, you know, I think I'm going to do a care video on the Balfouri, because a lot of people are using them or having them communally. I have 3, and none of them are communal right now. The ones that are coming from Vlad are going to be communal. Those 5. These 3, of course, the male's not going to go with the other one. I'm deciding what I want to do with the other 2. If I want to throw them in with the 5 to have 7, or if I'm going to keep them separate and just kind of, you know, do care on them separately. And it just seems like they grow slower, they eat worse. That's what, based on what I've, you know, the information I'm getting. And Tom's had his, since he's got them, I think he's got 9 together. The Dark Den had 9, I think he's got 8 left. So they've had them together since they've been there, and they've grown, you know, since we started watching the videos, they've grown quite a bit. My 2 little ones, well, at least the one that I've had, now the other one's really small, but the one that I've had here, I honestly can't tell you that I've ever seen it eat. You know, I put stuff in there and it'll vanish, but I've never actually seen it come out of its burrow or sitting at the mouth of its burrow waiting for a meal. I just put the stuff in there, I check it the next day, the cricket's gone, you know, I'm sure it's eating. It's molted a couple times, not very much, not growing very quickly, not what I would call, you know, I always associate baboons as like voracious eaters. They're, you know, they're on prey right away for the most part. These Balfouri solely just don't exhibit that. But I have found, since he matured, feeding him small, or what I'm getting him is medium crickets. So I could probably use medium, you know, red runners to feed him. And he takes them right away. He's fed now 3 times since he's matured. It took, but almost 3.5 to 4 weeks before I actually got him to eat. So, yeah, I think maybe I'll do a care sheet of how they are by themselves, and go from there. You know, I've had people ask me to do certain videos. It's a matter of, you know, the specimens that I have aren't big enough to do those type of videos, because, you know, a lot of mine are juveniles and smaller. You know, most of my adults or sub-adults are, you know, in these containers here or those containers up there. These are all juveniles, you know, the pokies and stuff, you know, in taller containers, of course, but most of the stuff I have is juvenile and smaller. So until I get them to their adult colorations, you know, doing videos on the Darlingies just really isn't going to be that productive for me. What's nice with my channel is because I have so many small things that you guys that are, you know, subscribers and do watch all the time will be able to watch these things grow with me, you know, and I think that's kind of cool that we can share in their growth and the different patterns. And I have so many that I have multiples of that, you know, we'll be able to tell sometimes the growth patterns between ones that end up male or female, or, you know, like the Harpacteria pulchripes, that thing was just growing like a weed, and the sibling of it is half the size of what she is. Maybe I fed it a little bit more than my friend did. I really can't tell you, but we thought for sure that mine was going to molt out male, and when it molted out female, I was just over the moon. I'd love to breed her. She's not ready yet. The next molt she'll be ready, but I'd love to breed her. So, you know, that's my ultimate goal, is to trade the M. balfouri or the GBB for a male Harpacteria pulchripes, or I'd like to get a male Poecilotheria subfusca highland, or possibly a male Avicularia metallica, as long as I know for sure that it's an Avicularia metallica, not something that somebody bought and thinks is a metallica. I need to know for sure that it is. But yeah, that's it. So I thought I'd give you guys an update on my little adventure today. What a pain this spider was. It really wore me down. So I'm going to get some holes in a couple containers today, and then start getting some wood cut and manipulated so that I can make what I want out of these two arboreal containers for the Rufilata and the Poecilotheria subfusca. So look forward to those hopefully by the weekend. Once I get the enclosure set up, before I get the spiders in there, I'll give you guys a quick update and show you. Okay? Have a great day, and again, thanks for everything.